You dare to kill my Jie family disciple. Jie Quan was furious when he saw that the brute had actually been killed. If I kill and kill, what are you going to do? Yang Kai's expression was fierce, wrapped in a demon flame, as if the ancient fierce god itself coming. The cold light flashed in his eyes. During the speech, he ascended into the Void King refining furnace suspended in midair, and the refining furnace suddenly spun around. During the rotation, a variety of strange flames flew out of the furnace and turning into the shape of the fiery bird and spurred the surrounding area. Those fiery birds looks like the reduced version of the item spirit. They look no different, but no matter the size or power, they cannot be compared to the real item spirit. This is the fire attribute's spiritual energy stored in Void King refining furnace. This refining furnace has been baked in the earth-long fire veins for more than tens of thousands of years. Naturally, it is no longer immortal. Yang Kai doesn't have to fight his enemy himself before, it is enough just by releasing the item spirit. But this time, in the face of so many Void Return stage martial artists, he did not dare to be careless. Even the power of the refining furnace was urged out to fight the enemies. At the same time, the fiery bird spreads its wings, and countless fireballs take shape, rushing down like a locust crossing. With the cooperation of the two, many of the Void Return stage complexions changed greatly, and they rushed to avoid. The Heavenly Fate City, which has received the full power of the attack, is even worse. Within the scope of the 1,000 feet, all the houses have been burned, the earth is ridiculously dark, and dozens of martial artists who can't escape on time and are killed on the spot. A powerful force fell from the sky. Then Jie Quan looked violently at Yang Kai. Boy, those two old guys are gone. I see how you can escape with your Saint King realm. Over a dozen layers of Shi overlapped and stacked one after another, which gave Yang Kai an illusion of struggling. The two golden thread responded with a madness, cutting the invisible Shi madly. The power of these Shi was greatly reduced, and Yang Kai stepped out again. After this step, his body suddenly became blurred, and his presence disappeared. Even the Void Return stage couldn't see exactly where he went. Yang Kai even used the power of Space Force. Although he did not tear the space directly, this step has broken through the constraints of space. When his figure reappeared, he had already come behind Jie Quan. Brother Jie, be careful. As soon as Yang Kai appeared, the old man with a goatee beard exclaimed. Jie Quan's complexion also changed greatly. A white mist suddenly filled his body, wrapped around on his body, making it impossible to see his figure. Yang Kai snorted, and a golden thread flew out, tangling towards the white mist. Indistinctly, a loud buzz came out. Along with Jie Quan's screams, the white mist surrounding him condensed, and suddenly burst out, and his hidden figure appeared again. But when everyone saw the scene in front of them, they were stunned. They saw Jie Quan's face standing on the spot as if he was dead, staring blankly at the golden thread coming out of his chest and abdomen. His face was full of horror, his eyes were also full of fear and alarm, and he did not dare to move. The other end of the golden thread was wrapped around Yang Kai's fingertips. He was subdued by Yang Kai so easily. Not only the others, even Jie Quan himself, that it was impossible. He only knew that the golden thread was strange and sharp. His own Saint Yuan could not resist the intrusion of the golden thread, otherwise he would not be penetrated by the golden thread and was easily taken down. The sharp bird cry came again, and the dozen-foot-long fiery bird flew over Yang Kai's head, and a pair of smart eyes glancing around. Every Void Return stage stared by it had a pale face. Although they only meet and fight the fiery bird for a short time, everyone can see the horror of it. With the item spirit alone, no one is its opponent. Even if they work together, it is impossible to subdue it. The strength of this item spirit is not far from the Void Return stage realm. You dare to move, you will die. Yang Kai's voice was like the cold wind blowing from the nine nether purgatory, blowing in Jie Quan's ear, making him feel a deep chill deep in his heart. Seeing Jie Quan standing honestly and abnormally, a look of satisfaction flashed on Yang Kai's face, and looked up at the other Void Return stage expert, said indifferently, I said, I'm here today for only two things. The first matter has been completed. And now I want to talk about the second matter. What do you want? Jie Quan's voice was bitter. Return all the saint crystals paid and snatched by you from the Dragon Cave Mountain. Yang Kai snorted. Your saint crystals is in my space ring, take it if you want. Jie Quan gritted his teeth and replied, he had to bow his head down. Yang Kai glanced at his finger, another golden thread flew out, wandering around Jie Quan's finger. The next moment, his fingers with the ring flew back to Yang Kai's hand. Fresh blood splashed out. Jie Quan's face was white, biting his teeth and enduring the pain of the heart, but he still didn't dare to move. Yang Kai's spiritual mind swept a little in the ring, and there was a look of sarcasm on his face, with a sneer. Isn't this number less? Not only is it less, but it is almost half lost. The material ordered by Dragon Cave Mountain from the Shadow Moon Hall this time is worth 20 million saint crystals. There is only 10 million in this ring, don't know where the other half go. Jie Quan silently turned her eyes to Ma Xinyuan, the goatee-bearded man. Yang Kai immediately understood that they had divided the saint crystal from Yu Feng, and the other half of the saint crystals was probably on the hand of this goatee-bearded man. His eyes suddenly became cold and he looked towards Ma Xinyuan. The latter's expression was hesitant, with a look of reluctance and unwillingness. Obviously, he was reluctant to give up the benefits he had obtained in that way. It was a 10 million saint crystals. If it were not for the sake of so many saint crystals, how could these people from the Shadow Moon Hall help the Jie's family to deal with Yang Kai? After all, the battle in the Shadow Moon Hall is already in full swing, and there are not many people to send out to help. Seeing that he didn't seem to want to return the saint crystal, Yang Kai's face turned cold and a second golden thread flew out again, wrapping around Jie Quan's shoulder. In the bloody light, Jie Quan's arm fell. Everyone suddenly changed countenance and looked at Yang Kai inexplicably, never imagining that the young boy could be so cruel and ruthless. Jie Quan was also hard-pressed. First, Yang Kai cut off a finger without making a sound. Now he was cut off an arm, but still made no sound. He just looked at Ma Xinyuan with a look of sorrow. His dry lips slightly wriggled, and said lowly, Elder brother Ma, you didn't just watch this Jie being cut by this kid? Hearing this, Ma Xinyuan knew that he could not keep the 10 million saint crystals. After all, Jie's family also has a Jie in the Shadow Moon Hall, and his status is higher than him. If he really let Jie Quan be killed by Yang Kai, Jie will definitely looking for trouble with him. With a bite on his lips, he took off the space ring on his hand, took out his own things from inside and threw the space ring to Yang Kai. Kid. The rest of the saint crystal is here, take it and hurry go. Otherwise, don't blame me for fighting with you. On this trip, they thought they were bound to get the saint crystals. Where did they know that their plan was foiled by an item spirit, and this kid named Yang Kai is also very strange. Ma Xinyuan doesn't know how he attacked Jie Quan, and even subdued him smoothly. While secretly scolding Jie Quan for being careless, he also had some fears for Yang Kai. The other party can subdue Jie Quan in an inexplicable manner, and he may not be able to kill him himself, and his strength is no better than Jie Quan's. Is this still a Saint King 3-layer? Ma Xinyuan is very skeptical about whether Yang Kai has hidden his cultivation level. After all, the other party seems to be able to fight with ease. Apparently still not using his full power. After accepting the ring thrown by Ma Xinyuan, Yang Kai checked it and determined that he was not lying. Then he nodded lightly. After both of the rings were put away, he turned a blind eye to Ma Xinyuan's cruel words and said lightly, I got it back. Let's calculate another account. What do you want?
Ma Xinyuan's face sank.
Don't be confused, old things. Yang Kai chuckled. You detained my disciple of Dragon Mountain Cave, and even tortured and whipped them. You don't think that this matter? Do you really think I am so good? Injured them. Ma Xinyuan's face was furious, and he shouted, if you say so, you ruined so many shops in Heavenly Fate City, and killed more than a dozen disciples. Should I also ask you for this account? That's what you asked for. We from the Dragon Cave Mountain have cooperated with you in good faith in the past 2 years. We have never missing or owed Saint Crystal, but you are so unbelievable. This is a matter of breaking the sky and no one is standing by you. What exactly do you want? Ma Xinyuan looked like a sinking water. Compensation. Yang Kai said concisely, coldly humming, if no compensation is possible, don't know if you can bear the consequences. Boy, are you threatening this old man? Ma Xinyuan's face was fierce. Yes. Yang Kai squinted at him. I will count to 3. If you don't agree, then I will start. 1. Seeing that Yang Kai was so aggressive, and even really reported the number, all Void Return Stage's face were cold, and their hearts were furious and frustrated. All of them are Void Return Stage. They think that with so many people they will be able to eat the Dragon Cave Mountain, but the development of things is simply beyond their control. 2. As soon as this number came out, Xianxia shouted anxiously, Brother Ma. Ma Xinyuan glanced at him from afar, and his expression flashed, Brother Xie, the people are caught by your Xie's family disciple, and your Xie family disciple is hurt. Does this have anything to do with Shadow Moon Hall? Xianxia's expression was dumbfounded, and a trace of sorrow suddenly came. He knew that Ma Xinyuan was telling the truth. This time the main manpower to deal with Dragon Cave Mountain was still the Xie family, but for Ma Xinyuan to say this kind of words, it was too sad. After all, the reason why the Xie family would take action was also instructed by the upper level of the Shadow Moon Hall. He took the opportunity to test Qiantong's reaction. Ma Xinyuan should not be out of the matter. 3. Yang Kai grinned broadly after reporting the number. It seems that you are really reluctant to compensate. Say in that case, I will do it myself. During the speech, the golden thread shook in his hand, and in the golden radiance flashing in the sky, the Xianxia was made into a piece of meat. The bloody smell permeated, and all the martial artists were dumbfounded and their expressions were extremely strange. To be continued.